Alright, welcome back to another video of me playing some Dragon Ball FighterZ. This is not a ranked video, as you can quite clearly tell. This is going to be kind of like a little bit of my own guide. This is a viewer requested video, so I thought I would make it. Okay. It was more like I got requested to show like a second route to a combo I've already done in a video. But I decided to take it one step further and do like my own little guide. To this character, and we're going to try and answer the question of, is he a difficult character, and what's good and what's bad about him, kind of thing. I'm going to try and cover that all in this video. Hopefully it won't be too long, but we'll see how it goes. So the first thing I want to cover is the combo, because that's what we're here for. So let me just turn off guard all. The combo video that I made for this character a few weeks ago, it went something similar like this. It was really silly. I actually messed it up there. But basically, it was just a flip combo. Like, as many flips as you can do, as many key blasts as you can do, etc, etc. You would go back up and do the same thing. Like, it wasn't by any means a practical combo. It's not something you would use in a match. I'm pretty sure the meter you get from it isn't even that good. But yeah, so anyways, basically the second route was, you do all of that normally. So you do the first bit the same. Go into a C assist or whatever C assist you're using. And then you still get your smash, right? And you can vanish and dragon rush. I actually put too much hitstun into that, but you get the idea. But the downside to that combo is, it costs meter to get sliding, and it puts you out of corner. Because you have to be in the corner to even get the combo in the first place, but you're doing a combo that deals about, okay, let's assume 5300 damage is accurate. So let's call it a little over 5000 damage, right? A little bit over half their health. But it costs you a meter just to get sliding, on top of all your supers that you can do after that. And it's not even reliable, because the moment you do this off of like a light or a heavy, it's gonna put so much hitstun on it that you don't even get like the second half of the combo probably. I'm not gonna test it out, but I just wanted to reference that just to show that it's a bad combo. If you do want a much more optimal combo, I think most of the community who plays this game already knows about this, but this is your relatively basic, nice and easy to do Trunks combo. If you try and add much more than that, it won't land. You can add an extra medium though, so I'll just show that off really quick. After the 2M right here, if you do a small delay, you get the 5M. You have to delay the 5M though, because otherwise you won't get the 5H, which is just your normal heavy. You can see it does a little bit more damage, it's like 80 damage higher or something than that, than without the 5M. But when you're in 2 or 3 or even like 5 or 6 frame delay, getting that extra 5M is very difficult, so most of the time you just don't want to do it. Especially when you're playing online in those high frame delays, like I mentioned, 5-6 frames, you probably will not hit that combo. When it's scaled as well, the reason why it's so good, you still get the full combo when you do it like this. You can see you still get sliding, and you get over 4k off of an overhead mix-up, which is really, really good. That's very good corner damage, in my opinion. But yeah, I just wanted to show that off because a viewer was asking about a second combo, and I don't think it's even a good like combo, the alternate route that I was going to show off. So I want to show that off instead, just because that's much easier, and it's similar damage for sliding knockdown, which you otherwise wouldn't get, and it costs no meter, so it's just a much better combo in general. Now, I want to try going about answering the question, is he difficult to play? Or what's good and what's bad about him? So the first thing I'm going to talk about here is frame data. The reason for this is, frame data is quite a big thing. Some of you may know that up until recently, when they patched Gogeta, he wasn't even a playable character to a lot of people anyway, because they considered his frame data so bad that it wasn't worth playing him. So what I mean by frame data, for those of you who don't know. I'm no expert on frame data, by the way, but I want to put this out there because it is important to establishing how good a character Trunks is. Mainly frame data implies when you're in a block string, are you safe on block or are you not safe on block? And to be safe on block, you need to be -5 or less. So you can see that Trunks' 5L is -5, which means if I stop or if I try and stagger this, and let's say Goku was to mash, so we'll do counterattack, just a light. You can see that when I do this and block, I'm safe, right? But on the other side of that, the rest of Trunks' normals are not safe on block. So if you do second 5L, I'm -7, so I can't stagger on that, because if I stagger here, someone's going to mash and hit me, because I cannot block. Like, I cannot, even if I'm holding block, if I do this, he hits me. You see what I mean? Let's turn it off again. More examples of this. Trunks' 5M, -9. His 2M, -10. These are not good normals to stagger. You don't want to stagger his 2M. Look how much time Goku has here to just mash. And it doesn't matter if I'm trying to block or not. I'll do it one more time. I'll do it with his 5M. He mashes. He's going to catch you every time. So, a better example of this is... We'll use Cell. We'll use Cell. So, if you're on Cell, and you'll have to look at the right side of the frame data now, because technically I'm on player 2. If you use his 5L, you can see Cell is only -3. Trunks was -5. So that's an extra 2 frames. So if I block, I'm gonna actually be able to block. So I'm safe on block, but -3 is the smallest negative frames you can be on block in terms of your 5L. No character has a 5L that's -2 or -1. No character has that. So -3 is the best it gets. This also helps you stagger much more effectively. Like, look at how fast that stagger is. 1, 2, like, it's so crazy how fast you can stagger this. And then obviously you can go into tick throws, etc. Whatever you want. I just wanted to point that out because it's a big part of the game, is stagger pressure, going into dragon rushes, etc, etc. To fix this though, Trunks does have a move which is actually plus on block. These moves are kind of rare, but you do see them on characters that tend to have worse frame data, Trunks being one of them. So instead of staggering normals like this, or trying to stagger, what you can do to steal a turn, and you don't need an assist for this, if you look at his medium shining slash, Trunks is actually +2 right now. What this means is that I can mash when I land, and Cell will not be able to. So if I was to do counterattack settings again, if I do this, I mean we actually clashed, which is like ridiculous. I'm probably missing the frame to mash, to be honest. There you can see I got it. And I got it again. So if you're a bit slow to the trigger when you land, you can kind of clash normals, but as long as you're mashing light, you're gonna steal your turn. Like there, I was a bit slow, I mashed there and I got it. I just wanted to show that off real quick. So yeah, you can steal a turn back for free. Most people won't mash here, and the reason for that is just because most people understand that Trunks is in positive frames there, even if they block it. Now, that's important because of how bad the rest of his frame data is. Also, you can see his 5L whiffs. 5L has a very, very short distance when it hits. His 2L can hit from here. Oh, okay, let's just show a distance where his 5L misses real quick. So his 5L is missing from here, right? I didn't mean to mash. Okay, his 5L misses from here, right? But his 2L, and this isn't a low 2L, that's important by the way. His 2L actually hits, so it's important that you know your ranges, and when you mash from like here, let's say, that you're doing a 2L, even though it's missing from here, but if you're here, you want to press 2L before 5L, otherwise your 5L won't hit. That's just another important thing to like keep in mind when playing Trunks. It won't be too important, most of the time you won't notice it. In fact, some of the time you can mash, and your second 5L will hit, and if that's the case, you get a huge amount of damage from it. because the scaling is much better. But moving on. So, I mentioned that Trunks' 2L is not a low. You can tell that because Cell doesn't crouch when he's blocking it. But when he blocks your 2M, he crouches. This is important, because this means that Trunks suffers from something a lot of other characters has. And Trunks doesn't have this. So, if I was to show off Android 18, she has a low 2L. Base Goku doesn't have a low 2L. Goku Blue does, Ultra Instinct Goku does, SSJ and Base Goku doesn't. But that's less important on characters like that because they have better frame data, I feel like, so they can stagger more. But anyways, the reason why this is important is because it negates some of Trunks' mix potential. Which, when I go on to explain this later on, you'll see why that's slightly less important. But there are ways you can make up for not having more than one form of low. So it's going to be very difficult to actually find where you can use your 2M on certain people. You might be able to backdash and 2M in. It has a pretty good distance, as you can see. Like if I backdash, if I go from like here, it will just barely miss, but if you backdash, you can still reach. And of course, he does have the double overhead like this. He has a single overhead. Something I like to do with Trunks, and this catches a lot of people off guard, it opens up a lot of people. I'm only Super Saiyan Blue, so I can't vouch for higher ranks. In fact, I would imagine higher ranks would actually 2H you for doing this. But you can, and this is just optional, use this as a bit of a mix on Trunks, is you do one overhead, and when you do this and they block it, you flip using your light flip, and you do another one. It's quite quick, it acts as a double overhead, they both count as highs. You know, you keep your turn if you don't mash the heavy too early. As you can see, I kept my turn there. But yeah, so that's like one way to open someone up. Another way is to make up for the fact you only have one low. People are going to be looking for your 2M, right? They're going to be looking for this. So what you do instead, you hit them over, you do this, and you Shining Slash. The reason why you do this, you don't necessarily have to do the medium version, by the way. The light version is much faster, as you can see. Like this will hit them much quicker. 26 frame startup. How about medium? Medium is 32, so that saves you 6 frames, right, if you do the light version. These both count as overhead moves. This is why this is important. Because let's say that you commonly do strings like 5L, 5L, 5M into 2M. Let's say that that is your common string. So people will expect you to do your 2M there on the 4th hit, right? What you can do instead is 1, 2, 3, overhead. So when they're expecting a low, you actually go overhead, and sometimes that will catch people off guard. And even if they block it, if you're doing the medium version, which they are more likely to block just because it's so telegraphed and it takes a long amount of time, if you do the medium version and they block it, it doesn't matter, because like we discussed earlier, you're +2 off of this, so you keep your turn. You see? And of course you do have 6M pressure into assists, you know, you have stuff like that, and all that good stuff. So he has mix in the corner, but it isn't the same kind of mix as what other characters might get. For example, he doesn't have a grab, so where Base Goku can grab you, Trunks cannot. Where Android 18 can grab you, Trunks cannot. But he kind of makes up for that by having a relatively fast double overhead, and a tool that acts as a overhead where you might expect a low. It's similar to, if I switch to their team real quick, if I switch to Base Goku, right? It's similar to doing this, except this is actually 2 frames faster than Trunks' Shining Slash, but we'll talk about that later. So, similar to how SSJ Goku doesn't have any grabs, and he only has one low being his 2M, right? Which is also -10 on block. But you can make up for that. You can do double overheads like this, or you can do overhead there. You know, you can even get a ground bounce into Spark. But very similar to Trunks, you don't get a good sparking route off of Shining Slash, and I just want to show this off because it's kind of important. It's not massively important, but it's slightly important. So let's say that you do open someone up, doing your block string, and then you do medium shining slash, right? You spark, but the problem is you're not going to get that much damage. And you don't get sliding, because your shining slash gives you sliding knockdown when you use it at the start. But at level 1 you get 45%, that's great, well, it's okay. It's more like 2M damage when you do the BNB route, right? The universal BNB. But you've just wasted a meter and sparking to do less than 50% of their health. You can see why that's not very good, right? Even if I do the light version, I'm pretty sure the scaling is the same. It's already looking the same. So you can see, like, and it costs you a meter to get sliding, I should point that out. You have to vanish into Dragon Rush, etc. We're not going to watch the rest of that. That's just something important. Even if you do mix someone up with this, the reward you get is not huge. I would imagine a more optimal combo is something like this. Let me just do it really quick. I would imagine this still works. Yeah, this still works. So you can do something like that. But there isn't much point because you don't get sliding. You still have to spend Vanish. It gives you a bit more damage, but it's not really worth it at the end of the day. If someone finds a TOD off of that, by the way, you're absolutely insane. But anyway, so yeah. That's your mix-up essentially with Trunks. But yeah, his 2L not being low hurts him a little bit. I don't think it hurts him as much as people make out. All it means is that you can't really empty jump 2L low like you can with other characters. You would have to try and 2M. But this move takes 12 frames, and that's a long time after an empty jump as well. Like, you can still empty jump Dragon Rush, you know, you can still do that. You can still just tick throw people, etc. All the other stuff that other characters have as well. The only difference is he has an overhead with the Shining Slash, which he gets positive frames from on block, and he has a double overhead if you choose to spend the flip. Something else I want to talk about, and this takes a lot of practice, in my opinion. Let's say that you spend a level 3, right? Something that a lot of people don't block. I'm just going to show this off. Something a lot of people don't block, or they don't really know how to block. Everyone knows that Trunks gets left-right mix off of level 3. A lot of people choose to just do it like this, you know, which is fine. But if you want to take this to a next level, in my opinion, is you literally do both sides. So instead of just getting level 3 Oki and going high on the right or left using your EX flip, like that, you know, you can do that every day of the week, whenever you want. Or, what you do instead, is you use both. So, you can do an overhead with Trunks on his left side, in the example that, you know, Cell is on the right side of Trunks when you've done your level 3. You could do this, and then flip to the other side of them, when I don't mess it up, and get a double overhead. Now this is an extremely quick mix-up that a lot of people won't be able to block. And that's important, because if you get a mid-screen level 3, a lot of people aren't going to be able to block that mix-up, and then you get a I think it's like 3,000, 4,000 damage. Let me just do it real quick, so I'll just show it off when I don't mess it up. It is difficult, it takes a lot of practice. I don't know why I've done a 2H route, but you can see you would get like 3,500 damage from that if you don't 2H immediately like I did, because I'm a clown. But assuming you've just used a level 3, and you've done an optimal mid-screen combo, that's going to give you good damage. Something some Trunks players may not know though, is that you don't get, well, you probably do know this, but you don't know how to get it. So if you do your universal BNB, and you don't land in the corner, I'm just going to move Cell over a little bit. If you do this, Trunks can't level 3 mid-screen. And this is a problem. You obviously cannot level 3 right there. So what Trunks has to fix this issue, and this varies depending what character you're against, you can use your EX flip, and you use the momentum you get from that to land behind the character you're up against. I don't know why that's not hitting. Let me change it to a light. So what you want to do And the universal way to make it land against any character is to do your Ki Blast, and then EX Flip. I'm going to show this off multiple times just so you can see everything I'm doing. Do a light, and then a heavy. And what will happen is, again, when you're not landing in the corner, like we are right now, the extra momentum you get from Trunks' EX Flip will land you behind the character. I messed it up. Why can I not do this? I apologize for having showed this off multiple times just until I hit it, but it's just so you can actually see it happen. There you go. You'll land behind and you do level 3. So this is how you get your mid-screen Oki with level 3. And how to get it to connect, and then you still have your left-right mix-up. That was a really cursed hitbox. I don't know why it stayed same side and hit, but whatever. So you can see what I mean, right? The EX Flip, it takes a lot of practice. It doesn't take too much practice. If you just go in practice mode a little while, you'll get it quite quickly. You'll figure out how it works. But yeah, so that's his mid-screen level 3 right there. You've also got his optimal combos in the corner as well as his frame data. Now for his neutral, I just want to show this off because this is also very important. So I'm going to show off his Ki Blast real quick, and why I think his Ki Blast is quite underrated but also very good. So if you use Super Dash Guard Cancel, right? So for one thing, obviously Trunks has a beam, Trunks has Change Future. Neither of these things can be Super Dashed, and his Change the Future will reflect Ki Blast, which I'll show off in a second. And obviously his beam beats Ki Blast because, well, it's a beam. Any beam does beat Ki Blast. But the good thing about Trunks' Ki Blast is that while it can be super dashed, it also has very good recovery. Now, it doesn't look like it has good recovery here. It's actually -5 on block, so if someone super dashes you, you can block it. But the reason why that's so important is because no matter what range you're at, you can Ki Blast and immediately 2H somebody. You see what I mean? Point blank, Ki Blast, someone super dashes, you can 2H. From there, from here, 2H, full screen is the best example, etc, etc. Or, you can follow it up, you can do this into a beam, and then you get post vanish. You can get like, what, 3k off of that? 3k off of that. That's good. That's really good. Now the other thing I want to show off really quick, and I won't be able to do this with Cell, so let me just switch him out to Goku. Something that's quite important as well is Change the Future. I just want to show this off. Let me turn off the guard cancel. So, reason why this is important. The reason why I'm showing it off. You can backdash. The startup of Change the Future will reflect Ki Blasts. As you can see there, reflected them. Reflected them again. And the blast itself will go through any Ki Blasts, it clashes them, and hits the character. So that's also really important. And I'll show a more specific example of why that is so good in my opinion. Let's say your opponent is playing base Vegeta or any character who likes to do neutral, similar to this, where he's just jumping around throwing Ki Blasts. Goku Blue is a good example. Base Vegeta is the best example. So let's say you're doing that. You're just running around, you're throwing Ki Blasts, you change the future, it will reflect the Ki Blast. It will also hit Goku from quite far away. You can see the hitbox is huge. I didn't really show off like a good example of the hitbox. I'm really just trying to show off an example of the huge hitbox this has. There you go, that's the best one I can get. So you can see the hitbox is very high, like it hits very, very high up into the, like, if someone's jumping like this, if they're up here, this is gonna hit them. Change the Future would hit them from this height. You understand that? And it also negates a super dash. So if I do that, and then don't play, has that worked? Hopefully I timed this right. and I don't hold the dash, you can see they can literally super dash into it. The blast hitbox stays around for a while. So if they're super dashing and you change future, they're getting hit by this. And then you can post vanish again, etc, etc, etc. So that's just another really good tool he has. As well as his normal Ki Blast beating other Ki Blasts. Kind of like change future into his Masenko beam does. But yeah, I think that's just about everything to cover with Trunks. I think he's a really solid character. He has bad frame data in comparison to other characters, but I feel like he makes up for that by having a plus on block move such as Shining Slash, which is a really important tool. Oh, although, something I should point out really quickly before I end the video. If you spam Shining Slash too much, people can 2H punish you for this. Now this is only something they'll be able to punish if you do it a lot and they know that they can 2H it. If they don't know that they can 2H this, then go ahead, spam it. If they don't punish you for it, then just keep doing it. But I would recommend only using this to steal the turn back when you don't have assists, or when you're on anchor and you can't have any assists covering you. But do not do this in every block string. If you try and do this every block string, you're gonna get 2H'd. I just wanted to point that out because that's important. So yes, you can get plus frames on block, but don't do it too much because they will 2H you for it. This move has big startup. Look at that. That's just very obvious what you're doing. It's slower than a 6M. Just think about that. And it's slower than the light version. But you can't use your light version because while it is safe on block, it's not plus frames, and you want to try and get plus frames on Trunks. Because if you do anything else, you're not plus frames, are you? So you want the medium version, just don't do it too often because they can punish you for it. But yeah, hopefully this was a really helpful video. I'm pretty sure I've showed off most of what I know for Trunks, to be honest. I'm not a huge expert on this game or like frame data or anything like that. I just wanted to show what I know about the character, and hopefully that helps you guys who are interested in getting to know the character and want to pick him up at any point. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if it was. Consider subscribing to my channel if you want more content just like this. I post Dragon Ball FighterZ as well as Genshin Impact playthrough gameplay. So if you're interested in those games, consider subscribing to my channel. It would help me out so much. If any of you have any other requests for different characters and like a video similar to this, or if you just want me to try and do a particular combo and see if it's possible, I can definitely try and do that and post videos like that. But that's going to be it from me. Hope you all have a great day, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.